It started as a dream. Dozens applied, but only 10 were chosen. Every voice was powerful, but only one walked away as the winner. VoiceQuest Live is where voices become unforgettable.
VoiceQuest Live!
Oh, here we go. The next speaker at VoiceQuest Live is Jeffrey Kass.
Don't start that till I say 6 minutes, Jeffrey Kass, you're on. Okay, now you can do it. I'm not gonna rap tonight, so I need to get some participation here. I'm just gonna ask some very difficult questions. Can you give me the name of a superhero? Batman, great. Can you give me the name of a famous inventor? All right. And how about over here? Can you give me the name of a city you'd like to go to? Outside of the United States, anyone? Paris, all right. So there's something that's in common with all of these things, and that is Batman, all our superheroes, Batman, Superman, all these folks that we grew up with, they all share something very much in common. They're all white and they're all men. Don't get me wrong, they're awesome. This is not a lecture about I'm bad, you're good. That's not what this is about. But when we pick our cities or where we think we want to go to, they're European cities. When we think about who our inventors are, they're Alexander Graham Bell, they're Albert Einstein, they're brilliant people. They're Thomas Edison. So what we've been fed our entire lives and what we've been told and not told has a deep impact on something called our unconscious mind. So if you grew up in an abusive home or you had one parent that was horrible, unfortunately I had one of those, it's not that what happens to you, you're consciously going out into the world and trying, but you get affected by the information that comes into your head. You get affected by that, and what it does is it informs your behavior. And so psychologists say that 80% of what we do in our actions and reactions in the world are formed by our unconscious minds. It's scary because, we'd like to think we're in control of everything, but when we're fed all these ideas about who our superheroes are, think of what that does to our ideas about people who are not represented. Think about the self-esteem or lack of self-esteem it could cause people that are not represented or people who are represented. Think about who our famous heroes are. Even God is a white man, even though he's from the Middle East. So, I remember when there was a show on TV, Batwoman, and an African-American woman played the part, and the people online went crazy. Batwoman isn't black. I'm like, Batwoman isn't even real. But this all informs our behavior. And where does it show up? It shows up when we're hiring people. It shows up when we're walking down the street and we decide whether we're going to cross. It shows up in our interactions on a daily basis. It shows up in the healthcare world. It shows up when we're making policy decisions. If any of you sit on school boards, it shows up in who we discipline at schools in different ways. And again, it's not, I'm going to assume, if I'm wrong, you can leave. I'm going to assume none of you have white hoods in your trunk. I'm going to assume you're good people. But we've all been conditioned to think and feel certain ways in the deepest parts of our unconscious minds. And it's a scary thought, but that is why, and nobody's going to disagree with me, that we live in one of the most divided times in our entire life. But we're walking like zombies through the world. And we're reacting and acting out in ways against our fellow human beings in ways you might have positive. You might think, black people are wonderful basketball players. But guess what? And you might think Jews are the best lawyers. But what happens when a black lawyer is vying for a client against a Jewish lawyer, and your bias in your mind chooses one not based on who the better one is, but based on your bias? Or if there's a great white basketball player that doesn't get picked on the playground because your bias is he must be great. I remember when I used to play softball, my friend Rick, who did play basketball in college but is horrible at softball, they thought he was great. He actually had a softball hit him in the face trying to catch a ball in outfield. He was so bad, and he struck out in softball. If you know men's softball, it's about a 2-mile-per-hour pitch. He struck out. Again, those biases make you pick certain people. They make you who you use as your service provider. So there fortunately is a way to fix this. Like anything you've been conditioned on, if you had a bad childhood, you can go to a therapy. Well, you can go to human being therapy. There's 2 ways to do this. One is, of course, you can learn about it. You can read books, you can do podcasts, you can educate yourselves. A lot of us don't, I'm 56, we've been doing this. How do I have time to read all these books and undo everything I've been taught? That's a tough ask. But what we can do is, we all heard about social distancing 5 years ago. We can do what's called end racial distancing. We might go to lunch with our coworker who's different than us. We might talk to somebody at work. We might interact with somebody at a coffee shop. We might go through life thinking, and we tell our kids, don't be hateful, don't be racist, love all people, and then your dinner table looks all like you. Think about that for a second. Your family functions all look like you. And again, there's exceptions to the rule, but the fact of the matter is, if we don't integrate our after 5 spaces in this world, we will never have a reference point to counter all of the unbelievable images we've been fed and not fed our entire life. I can tell you, Paris and London aren't the only great cities to go to. Thank you so much.
All right, judges.
Oh boy, here we go. Let the black guy judge first, right? Nah, man, first of all, it's a brave time.
White lady coming in.
Jeez. Yo, first of all, that's definitely a brave topic, you know what I'm saying? You're in a room full of white folk, but like, hey, you're old. Like, and I think what I love about it, though, is that humor is the great glue. Like, because these topics are so like, you're this, and people get defensive automatically as soon as you start pointing at them with fire and brimstone. And so you were able to approach this topic very lightly, very humorously, where we're laughing and enjoying ourselves, but still putting the medicine in the food, right? Like, you walk around and you leave with something. What I love was that after 5 spaces, that was just a term, like now that's gonna be stuck in my brain forever, the after 5 space, and what to do with that space, and how to have fun in that space, and just do the human thing. So as far as your presentation and the presence that you brought, for the heavy topics, the way that you were carrying it with levity is what gives it the power and the impact. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Those shoes are on fire, man. I don't know what's going on, but those are killer. I need me a pair. I just had to put that out there, okay? Look, amazing. I think you captivated the audience the whole way through. We're with you. I love the participation in the beginning. It grabs attention. It brings us into what the problem is. My feedback is this. In 6 minutes, I would love to see like a thread that brought us into a moment that then carries out the overall message. What I saw was that you could do hours on this, and I could be captivated, and we could do exercises, and I'd be like, that was awesome. But for the 6 minutes, I really wanted a moment that carried through the whole thing to make it powerful at the end as well. But other than that, man, I mean, you crushed it. You're clearly a professional. Amazing job.
Okay, yeah, I ditto to what these 2 dudes are saying. One of the things that I really wanted was more pause. Like, you actually had some really great lines in there, like, God's a white man, and he's from the Middle East. She isn't even real. Like, there were these moments where I'm like, yes, and I wanted to pause, and it was just like, pushing forward. And I think, we can't be totally in it with you if we don't get the space to do that. So I would have loved more pause.
You clearly have very high functioning, high processing speed in your brain. I was with you the whole time, and I talk like that naturally as well. But a lot of the time you weren't finishing your words or sentences because you were trying to make sure you were saying your thoughts at the same speed. So that's all I would say. I know you were trying to squeeze in a lot of magic into 6 minutes, but better to slow it down so everybody can keep up.
Next time, let's use dog ears.
Yay! Okay, how you guys doing? All right, you doing good? You doing good? Okay. Then we will just keep right on moving to speaker number 6. We have the one and only Lindsey Carnick. Woohoo!
Does this work? I am scared of snakes. I have a lifelong clinically diagnosable phobia of snakes. I am terrified of snakes. The terror began with the snake-filled nightmares that started when I was 5. When I was 5, my 4-month-old sister died from sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS. Like the dreams themselves, the snakes in the dreams emerged out of pure, dark ether, indifferent, ominous, no context, no background, no storyline. The venomous ones lunged at my face with supernatural acceleration, all gaping pink mouth flesh and fangs. The constrictors? Imagine deadly weight encircling your limbs, not squeezing, just passively holding you there, as if to remind you, make sure you knew, really knew, the full extent of your helplessness. I got older, the dreams became increasingly violent and vivid, and I became more and more paralyzed with fear of the real thing. For 40 years, I successfully evaded real-life snakes by religiously avoiding zoos, Florida, National Geographic magazine, Indiana Jones, and nature. They say you have to be uncomfortable to grow. They say you have to face your fears. They do not have a good way of telling you which fears you should face or why it might matter. What matters greatly is differentiating the story you tell yourself about reality from reality itself. My story about snakes started with my sister's death. Snakes gave a tangible, solid shape to this nameless, faceless dread, always threatening to suffocate me. Waking yourself up to reality is the antidote to every nightmare. And at 43, I decided to wake myself up. So I called myself up this soft-spoken fellow named Randy. Randy throws reptile-themed children's birthday parties. My good fellow, birthday party for one. Hold the cupcakes. On a bluebird sky afternoon, after a week of very bad sleep and unfunny jokes about barfing on snakes before they can barf on me, I drive 2 hours out a dusty dirt road, neurotically applying chapstick about every 4 minutes and furiously slurping on an emotional support Diet Coke, even though I've sworn off caffeine for the day. I pull into the site, I park, I close my eyes. No racing heart, no shaking hands, no twitch, no stomach pain. Oh, I'm already dead! Except not, because here comes Randy. There's preliminary chit-chat. A strategy is devised. Randy disappears into a building and comes back out a door with a snake. No pounding heart. No twitch. No shaking hands. No stomach pain. I shuffle closer. and I shuffle closer. I reach out my hand, and again, I try and touch it. And on the 8th go, my fingertips graze cool snakeskin. And then I touch it again, and again, and again. And then I touch a procession of 10 increasingly sizable snakes. I touch them all. And after 3 hours, I hold a king snake and a ball python by myself. What matters greatly is differentiating the story you tell yourself about reality from reality itself. The idea of a children's reptile party came from a photo my cousin showed me. In it, her little kids are standing in a row, grinning from ear to ear, helping to hold this giant snake. In the picture, I could see that the difference between me and those kids was simply the story we held about the same reality. My favorite picture from my day with Randy and the snakes is the one where I am holding the tail end of an 8-foot-long python. It's not that it's the biggest snake he had, although that is incredible. It's that I'm holding a new story, one filled with wonder and freedom instead of constraints and avoidance. I woke myself up to reality, and next thing you know, I'm standing in a line, grinning from ear to ear, holding a giant snake.
All right, judges, does she have an opportunity to slither into first place?
Okay. Brilliant, captivating, fantastic storytelling. I was waiting just for a little lesson. Like, what's my lesson that I need to take away? And aside from that, when I come to visit Australia, we've got lots of snakes and big spiders.
So this is more like a structure thing. The poetry of how you described snakes was beautiful. I was curious, once you said I had a snake birthday party, I was like, wow, what if she would have started with that? Had us hang for like, what the hell is a snake birthday party and why? Then go to that, Ryan gets into this viper's pit with your sister and snakes and everything else, and then you climb us back out. Your delivery of everything in every moment was beautiful. Like every picture that you took, it was like going through a camera roll. This is the image of the big snake. This is the image of your relation with your sister. This is the image of your fear. I think it would just be a matter of putting the pictures in a different order than it is about the pictures themselves. Beautiful work.
I love this story. I have to agree. I mean, that's really my feedback as well. I wanted a slightly different structure. I love the repetition. You have just such a poetic and magnetic way of speaking. And actually, one of my favorite lines was, I was holding a new story. It was really beautiful. Thank you.
Great job. Your vocal variation and your stage presence is incredible. Like, just captivated the whole time. There's two things I want to say. One is that I'll tell you what my mentor told me once. He said, like, speaking is basically make them laugh, make them cry, give them hope. And I was waiting for what am I going to be hopeful about? And I don't want to say that it wasn't there. It just didn't hit me. Because if I think about it, I can pull it out. But what I wanted to do was really be hit with it. But other than that, I mean, incredible job. Great job.
Thank you.